This is a smart Roadster, and today I'm going to be asking a question that I know has been on everybody's mind for, well, years at this point. Is it a suitable substitute to a Lotus?
This car has been very kindly lent to us today by Parkgate Motor Company, and if you follow the link in the description, you can see the listing to buy the very car in this video, and a fine selection of motorhomes.
So let's start by talking about the front. Now, like the Lotus, this car also offers great versatility and storage. No, sorry, I'm wrong again. Like the Lotus, it doesn't. So here you have this big area where there's no engine. I'll start with that, there's no engine under here, but you also can't open it and put a suitcase in.
So actually, awkward admission time, there is a front, there's a front storage area that I hadn't noticed because I made the mistake of, one, just looking at the key, which has a boot release for the normal rear boot on it, but not any other boot releases, and I had a vague recollection of a different review that I'd seen where they had not mentioned the front storage area. So instead of being, good at my job, I didn't bother to check, and I didn't notice the big red lever in the glove compartment that is actually the way you open the front compartment. And once you have the front compartment open, you actually have space for an overnight bag or some shopping. So actually this car is a lot more practical than I'm going to give it credit for the rest of this review. I'm so very sorry.
Then you have these funny little lights, which might not be to everyone's taste, but I quite like them. They're quite funky. So here we have one of the big differences, not only from the Lotus, but from nearly any other car on the road. It's a 3-bolt wheel pattern, which is quite uncommon, but that's because this car only weighs 780 kilograms, which is what brings it back again to being more like a Lotus. I'm sure Colin Chapman would have approved. And then on to what is potentially the most controversial exterior feature of this car, the sort of right angle rear deck lid, almost like a first year Fiero for our American fans. I'm not personally a big fan. I actually prefer the coupe, which has a sort of curved boot here, but I can see they were going for a sort of individual style, because I'll be honest, if they hadn't done that, it actually would just look kind of like, I don't know, a sort of pound shop Lotus with its big plastic bits. And there's the rear bumper. Nothing really going on there. So ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of the car? Okay, hard crowd. Now I've briefly taken you through the exterior of the vehicle, I'm going to show you both the boot and the engine compartment at the same time. That's it. Coming close. That is the boot. Now you can see you've got a bit here and this little flap, but if you plan on taking the roof down, this is your entire boot, and as you can see, it's not even as deep as my hand is sideways. And you might think, oh well, it looks like it's got a false floor, and it does, because under there is the engine. So it's also not the best place for storing ice cream, because it might get a bit hot. So I guess if you just transport, I don't know, trays of warm cookies. Yeah, trays of warm, if you're a sort of Girl Scout delivery driver of warm cookies, then this is the perfect car for you. But for airport runs or trips to IKEA, I'm thinking maybe not. So the other exterior feature to show you is of course the retractable roof, and I've heard from many sources that apparently just putting down and putting back up the roof is a very popular thing to do on YouTube. So that's exactly what I'm going to do for you now. And now back the other way. And just like that, it's back together. So after a somewhat brief walk around the exterior, because I don't really feel like it needs to be discussed too much in depth, it's quite a striking look, you won't forget one if you've seen it. Let's move on to the interior, and now this is going to feel a little similar to anyone who's watched any of Rob's Lotus videos, because again, it's a two-seat cockpit with basically no space inside, but the Germans have prevailed, and here they've provided us with a little more practicality than you will find in the Lotus. So, you have a glove box, and as you can see, you could fit something the size of a glasses case in there, so you can travel with your glasses, good news. And then there's a tiny little net all the way down in this footwell. Although, I think if you had both your feet in the footwell, the screen's gone off.
It's still recording.
Okay. I think if you had both your feet in the footwell, you wouldn't really fit anything more than maybe some passports in there, but you know, there you go, you've got your passports and your glasses ready for your holiday. And then you have your center console. So you have these little drawers in here, which are the depth of my finger. There's my finger for scale. And these buttons, which do various things, including your windows, so there's no window switches here. A stereo that I'm not sure if it's aftermarket, but it certainly looks it. And then your HVAC controls up here with this stunning foil coating on the main vent. And then if you come over here to these vents, these actually remind me of sort of, do you remember Marvin from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? I don't know why, but they just remind me of Marvin from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Then, Saab fans, take note, they've stolen your idea. They put the key in the middle, so it won't go into your knee when you crash. That's nice of them. And the main point of contention within the interior. This is the automatic gearbox. This car was only available with an automatic gearbox, and it's the one thing that stops it from really feeling like a proper lightweight sports car, because it's sluggish, and that's maybe being generous. I'll cut in a little bit of old footage from a notable British TV show here, and that'll just about sum it up for you.
Am I a pencil? Am I a cauliflower? Am I a nuclear power station? I'm a gearbox! Oh heavens!
And then finally, if you want to come around behind me, there is this rear parcel shelf, which is quite spacious, but it again is what we saw from the boot. It's actually the space for the roof to fold down into if you're going to fold down the roof. So I think that's everything. Oh, sorry, one last thing. The door pockets. I think you could just about fit some novelty Toblerone in there, so there you go. You got your sunglasses, you got your passports, and you got your novelty Toblerone. Perfect holiday car, right? Anyway, that's the interior, so let's go for a little drive, shall we?
You know what? I enjoyed doing the voiceover so much last time that I think I'm going to do it again. So here we are, the Smart Roadster. What is there to say? Well, it's properly lightweight, which really helps with its sports car credentials. And then there's that gearbox. So, shall we start with the handling, and then we'll move on to that and the performance. Handling-wise, it's brilliant. It's, you know, it's properly light. It's on relatively wide tyres for the amount of power it has. And the steering feels completely direct. You can really just fling it into a corner with complete confidence. It's absolutely brilliant in that respect. But I think it'd be very hard to make a car that was 790 odd kilograms and not have it handle well, especially with modern tyre and suspension technology. So, yeah, it's good. It's very good. Now, the thing is, it has this F1 style automated manual gearbox, which is ponderous, very ponderous. And I would say in spirited driving, it's only worth using the actual shifter to try and force it to shift when you want to, because at least you can have some form of planning then. It's still going to take a long time to shift, but it can be quite a fun driving experience, and actually once you're used to it, it's completely fine. And certainly for just driving along the motorway, you can leave it in auto and you wouldn't have to worry about it. The time it becomes really irritating is sort of between 20 and 40 miles an hour in and around junctions and roundabouts, because you know, sometimes you're rolling up to a roundabout and then the lights change and you think, great, I'll go, and you've been at 15 because you were slowing down, and then so you put your foot down and the gearbox goes, oh, he wants power, and then it decides to change, and then it's been a second and you still haven't started accelerating and you're starting to panic, so you put your foot down more because you want the car to go, and it goes, oh, he needs more power, and it changes down again to try and get you into that gear to shoot you forwards. But by doing that, it actually has wasted more time, and you end up panicking. I haven't actually been in any dangerous situations due to that, but it feels like it could potentially put you in a dangerous situation. So I would definitely say this is more of a Sunday backroads kind of car. Keep it away from like major junctions and complex street arrangements, because there's going to be those awkward pausing moments where you just can't get it moving. But on a back road, you can make the gearbox work for you, and it's actually quite enjoyable. The engine's 80 horsepower, but with those turbo noises, the sensation of speed is so much greater. There's so much going on with the whoo. It's very enjoyable, and honestly, you don't feel like you're lacking power. It's like the old-fashioned lightweight sports cars that you used to get in the 60s. The whole point is you're really connected with the vehicle, and you're going along and you're driving, and the only thing that ever removes that connection is that gear change. The rest of the driving experience, the seating position is nice and low. It's ideal. There's no adjustment in the steering wheel, but for me personally, it was about in the right place anyway. It might feel slightly long-armed because it's really right against the dash, I guess, to maximise the space in what is quite a small cabin, but I have quite long arms. And there's lots of adjustment in the seat. I think Rob could fit in this car just fine. I had plenty of headroom. Probably width is the biggest factor, but I was fine, and I'm quite a wide fella, so I wouldn't be worried about that either. And I drove it for gosh, it was more than 6 hours, I believe, and I was still pretty comfortable at the end of it. So I think comfort's fine. So yeah, handling's fine, comfort's fine, gearbox is meh, but all in all, I would say it's a good driving experience. And if you get a chance to try one, I would recommend it. And if you get a chance to buy one, give it a test drive and see if it's for you, because there's that gearbox thing, but actually the rest of the package is so complete and good, and it's so unique and different. I would really recommend it. I genuinely feel like, as a backroads Sunday blaster, it is closer to the Lotus than it would be to something like an MX-5. It has that sort of special feeling because of the mid-engine and the turbo noises and the seating position and everything. It really feels quite special, and it's just that gearbox that spoils it for me. But yeah, overall, quite a positive driving experience.
So then, what's the answer? Is this a substitute Lotus? Well, not a direct one, but I would say on a miles per gallon basis, it's up there with the Lotus, and you can get one for a third of the price. And I think it's definitely a third of a Lotus. So, smart Roadster. So thumbs up from me.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. Please like and subscribe. Comment underneath if you have anything to say about what I've said, especially about my spectacular fail when it came to remembering where the cargo areas were. And you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. Please follow us in all of those places. Drive Tribe as well, don't forget. And we'll see you next time. Cheerio!